Hello and welcome to Cupcake Addiction's Valentine's Rose Cake Pop tutorial, where I'll be showing you how to make these Valentine's Rose cake pops that are actually a lot easier than they look. For this tutorial, we'll be collaborating with my friend Tammy over at Yo-Yo Max 12. We've each come up with a great Valentine's cake pop tutorial for you. I'll be showing you hers at the end of this tutorial, so make sure you head over to her channel and check that out. Tools and equipment that we will be using today. I have a polystyrene block that I'm resting my cake pops in. I've got a couple of lollipop sticks. I've got my pre-rolled cake pop balls ready to go. If you are not sure how to get your cake pop balls to this consistency, or you don't have a great recipe, check out our channel. I'll leave a link to our recipe and tutorial in the description box. I will also mention with the cake pop ball, this is a standard cake pop ball. I'm using quite a bit smaller cake pop ball for this tutorial, because we don't need quite as much cake or it's going to end up being even larger than it is. I've got a little bit of white chocolate, just regular white chocolate that I've tinted with some Wilton pink colour paste. I've got some of our modelling chocolate. Recipe for this and tutorial is available on our channel and I'll leave a link below. I've tinted it the same colour, pink. I've got a little tiny bit of it green and a star cookie cutter. These are both optional extras. These roses do look fantastic without the little green calyx at the bottom, but if you would like that, it's an optional extra. Let's get started. Now I've rolled my cake pop ball into a bit of a teardrop shape. This one's been setting in the fridge, so it's ready to go. But to show you how I got that teardrop shape, as I mentioned, this ball's a little bit smaller than we usually use. I'm just going to roll that in the palm of my hands until I get a nice teardrop. You don't want it to be too tall, otherwise you're going to end up with a really, really tall rose. And I like to make these in a few different sort of sizes. You don't want them all to be perfect because roses in nature are not perfect. So there's your little cone shape, and as I mentioned, here's one that's been refrigerating. So once you've made that cone, pop it in the fridge for about 15 minutes so it's really nice and firm. Then we're going to take the cake pop stick, dip it in that lovely pink chocolate, and just insert it into the bottom of the cake pop ball. Now that one's going to go into the fridge for another 10 minutes or so, just until that lovely chocolate seal is completely set, and then we'll come back and get to dipping. Okay, so that's been setting and I'm happy that my chocolate seal is completely hardened, so it's time for dipping. As I mentioned, I'm going to do this one pink today, not red. You can do it obviously any colour that you like, and you would use red candy melts or red chocolate if you were going to do the red ones. Just dipping that in, giving it a little tap off. Make sure that there's no excess remaining. Don't worry if it's not particularly neat, it's going to be almost completely covered. So I'm going to take my little cone-shaped cake pop and just pop it in the polystyrene block. We're going to let that completely set before we start adding modelling chocolate. Okay, so our lovely pink cake pop bud is ready to go, nice and set. So I'm going to take that modelling chocolate, give it just a really quick little knead. Don't over knead it or knead it for too long because you don't want to soften it up too much, it becomes quite hard to work with. Pull off a little ball of it. There's no exact size, it's really rough and really easy. And then I'm just going to take my thumb and I'm just going to basically smear it across the palm of my hand and get it off as quick as you can so that it's not sitting on the warm part of your hand for too long. Now I'm going to wrap this around quite close to that bud, and that's going to form a nice little curl of the bud. So you want that one to be quite tight in the centre of your cake pop cone. Now, as I mentioned, this is not hard to do. It's certainly not technically hard or technically difficult, but it is quite time consuming. So once again, with another ball of that modelling chocolate, smear it out. The thinner you get it, the better your rose will look. And over the crease in that last piece of modelling chocolate, I'm just going to stick this down. So it's going to stick to itself because it's modelling chocolate. Don't worry if they're all closed in, because at the end we're going to go around like so and just fan them out so that it falls naturally. So once again, rip off another little ball with that thumb, smear it out. If it rips like that, don't worry, pull off that little bit. It's really rough and really easy. And we're just going to attach these buds now, the next leaves or petals I should say, over each join. I like to work in odd numbers when I'm doing roses. So you do 1, then 3, then maybe 5. I don't know why, it just looks better than if you do even numbers. Once again, smear it out. Now the reason that I'm using modelling chocolate is A, because we've got a great recipe for it on our channel, and B, because these are cake pops and people aren't going to want to bite into a whole lot of fondant. So I did think about using maybe roll-ups or sour straps or something like that, but I thought modelling chocolate, I know that you guys all have access to it because we do have that great recipe on channel, and it's going to taste delicious. It's going to be a bit of cake in the middle and a beautiful white chocolatey truffle all around the outside. So you can see I'm getting a little bit bigger with my pieces as I go around. I'm just going to wrap. And here I'm just going to pull that one out a little bit so that I can get an idea of how my rose is looking. We'll continue on like that for a little while. Alright, so my rose is taking shape beautifully. You can see there we've just got some issues around the bottom we need to cover up, so I'm going to finish this off by doing my last 4 or 5 long petals. So to do that, we're just going to use the same technique. We're just going to make them quite a bit longer or quite a bit bigger. So I'm going to use a bigger ball, funnily enough. Roll it out, and I'm going to push it out the same way, but tear the ends off a little bit, and I'm just going to stretch it down. Modelling chocolate's fantastic, it's so easy to work with. If you do have any creases, just fold it over. The heat from your hands is going to just work it all back in together. And then I'm going to pop that one so that it's coming right down to the bottom of the cake pop, and set it down. Now don't worry if it's a little bit sort of creasy or anything here, because once again that modelling chocolate's very forgiving, and we're going to use the heat from our hands to just mould that all into a lovely seamless rose base. Alright, so we've got our rose. Now as I mentioned, we can just start folding out. So you can make it as blooming or as closed, as bud-like or as in bloom as you like. And just fold it out until you're happy that you've got a nice shape. On the sides, as I mentioned, do make sure that you support it. Just go around with your finger and just smooth out those creases. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. It's a rose, it's not going to be perfect in nature, and everybody's going to be really looking at the top of it anyway. Now, as an optional extra, you can leave it there. It's very effective, but as I mentioned, we're going to pop a little calyx or some little greenery on this rose. So you've got your green modelling chocolate, and I'm just going to push it out. You can roll this out if you like, but you really don't need to. It's so flexible and so easy to use. And I love roses because they are so naturally kind of scruffy and rough. So cut your star. If you don't have an actual star cutter, just use a knife and cut a bit of a rough star shape. And then I'm going to take a lollipop stick, pop it in through the middle, and just slide that up and attach it to the modelling chocolate below. I like to flick them out a little bit so that you can see it from above. So there you have your gorgeous Valentine's Day rose cake pops ready to give to your special Valentine this year. We hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please make sure that you hit the subscribe button to subscribe to our channel for more great tutorials. And why not team these up with some other great cake pops? Have a look at what my friend Tammy over at Yo-Yo Max 12 has made for you guys this year for Valentine's Day.
Hi everyone, it's Yo-Yo Max 12, and on my channel I'll show you how to make these really cute teddy bear cake pops. So click the link on your screen or in the description box, and happy Valentine's Day everyone.